The British mandate for Palestine occupied a region that presently includes Israel, the Palestinian Authority and Jordan, inhabited in the main by Jews, Muslims and a Christian minority. Also known as the Holy Land, the area comprises numerous sacred and historic sites, important to all three major monotheistic religions, a long-standing pilgrimage destination for the faithful. Among them, thousands of Christians unceasingly come to visit the land of the Messiah, where Jesus Christ was born and Christianity was first established. The Bible tells us that Abraham and his tribe settled here approximately 2,000 years before Christ. The region, however, was inhabited by other cultures long before Abraham and his family arrived. After the exodus from Egypt, the children of Israel established a kingdom here, which they had to defend through the ages against frequent invaders, many of whom settled in the region. The destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in the year 70 AD saw the Jewish diaspora grow ever larger. Arab Muslim forces conquered Palestine in the 7th century and have remained an overwhelming presence in the region ever since. In modern times, Palestine was one of the Arab territories administered by the United Kingdom. In 1917, the British government supported the idea of Jews settling in Palestine, which also encouraged the mass immigration of Jews from Europe throughout the first half of the 20th century. In 1947, the UN General Assembly voted for the partitioning of Palestine into two states, Jewish and Arab. Jews were apportioned 56% of Palestine, the Arabs 43%. The Arab-Israeli War broke out shortly afterwards, during which almost half of the Palestinian population fled the lands assigned to Israel. Israel declared independence in 1948, which the surrounding Arab countries refused to accept. After the 1967 war, which only lasted 6 days, Israel extended its territory and became a dominant regional military power. A large-scale Jewish settlement program began. A Palestinian national movement emerged after 1967, composed of a political and military wing that made up the Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO. Factions of the organization initiated a series of terrorist attacks in Israel and around the world. An agreement signed in Oslo in 1993 saw the creation of the Palestinian Authority on the West Bank and Gaza Strip. In return, the Palestine Liberation Organization recognized Israel's right to exist and relinquished all terrorist activities. Nonetheless, in order to prevent any further attacks, Israel set up hundreds of checkpoints between the two territories, in effect giving Israel control over most of the region. By so doing, Israel was seen by many as reneging on the Oslo Accords. Jewish settlement building has not ceased. Settlers continue to occupy and seize Palestinian land. Houses continue to be demolished and Palestinians, Muslims and Christians evicted.
They cannot build houses in their own land because they are confiscated. Their house that they build without a permit from Israel will be destroyed by the Israeli bulldozers.
In 2002, Israel began constructing a wall that separates it from Palestinian land. Increased controls and separation were supposed to reduce the threat of terrorist attacks in Israel. Yet the wall has become a symbol of national humiliation for the Palestinians. It has significantly worsened their quality of life and all at once led to ever more Palestinian land ending up as part of Israel.
The wall seemed to spring up from one day to another, spreading entire kilometers. People started to lose their jobs, particularly Christian families. Because they lost hope for the future, they started to take their own lives.
Those who goes to work in other villages and cities, they have to pass by the checkpoints, by the apartheid wall. They have to face the settlers and the Israeli soldiers who maybe will arrest them or will kill them.
Israel restricts access to electricity, water, and limits freedom of movement between the Palestinian Authority and Israel.
Although we as Palestinians, we have more than enough water underground, but it's controlled by Israel. And Israel is taking the 83% of our water, and we are buying the remaining 17%. Right now, we cannot have an independent, viable Palestinian state with more than 600,000 settlers all over the West Bank. This is preventing any possible peaceful solution.
The plight of Palestinians is often dramatic. Unexpected night arrests of minors by the Israeli army a frequent occurrence.
They came to catch him when he was 16. They destroyed and demolished my house. None of the equipment worked after that. They demolished everything. Then they arrested my younger son. He has already been in prison for 3 years.
Over the past 10 years, there has been a sharp rise in unemployment among Palestinians, leading to ever greater social problems.
First, we give them material help because they lack food. People do not have jobs. When there is no job, there is no money. There are many social problems and violence in Christian families. No job, no food. That's why they reach for alcohol and drugs.
Despite the many problems and the suffering of Palestinian Christians, there are clear signs of the fruits of pastoral work. These include a growing number of vocations to the consecrated life, successes in education, and the development of local businesses. Although up to recently, Palestinian Christians were the majority group in the Church of the Holy Land, migrants are making the Christian presence more diverse and complex. The Catholic community in Israel is composed mainly of guest workers from the Philippines, India, and Sri Lanka, as well as asylum seekers from sub-Saharan Africa. In the last decade, the number of guest workers has increased sharply. Today, almost 40,000 Filipinos alone live in Israel, with fixed-term employment contracts the norm. The Universal Church is called to care for her brothers and sisters in the Holy Land. Both prayers and material support are key to ensuring that the many essential humanitarian, pastoral, and educational works continue.
We are very proud that we were born here in Bethlehem, and we are very happy that we are in Bethlehem. And we have to encourage all our people to stay in this land because we are the living stones of the church. We are the soldier of the church. So without us, the church is just a museum. And we invite all the people in the world to come to visit us in the Holy Land and to stay for a while, to encourage us to stay, to be in this land. Not just to visit the church, also to visit us.